a reflection on the myth of authority and the withering of statism, in which I contend that the state is not a cause, but an effect, and that its dissolution begins in the mind. I do not believe the state is a foundational structure of society. I believe it is a symptom, an after-effect of something far more fragile and strange: belief. Specifically, belief in the moral rightness of rule. When I look around at the flags, the uniforms, the taxes, and the laws, I do not see the machinery of civilization. I see artifacts of a story we've been taught to believe. I call that story the myth of authority. The myth itself. The myth of authority is the conviction that some men, by virtue of office or law, possess a moral right to command, and that others possess a moral duty to obey. This is not the authority of skill or consent. This is not trusting a guide through dangerous terrain or hiring a builder to raise a barn. This is obedience to strangers because they wear a badge or hold a title. What's striking is not the violence the state wields, but that most people regard its violence as legitimate. If I demand your money under threat of harm, I am a criminal. If a government agent does the same, he is a tax collector. If I cage you for a peaceful act, I am a tyrant. If the state does so, it is called justice. This belief twists moral reasoning. People begin to equate obedience with virtue. A law-abiding citizen becomes an ideal, not because he acts justly, but because he submits dutifully. Yet here lies the contradiction. If morality is universal, then no man or group of men can be granted moral exemptions. If it is wrong for me to steal, it is wrong for the IRS. If it is wrong to cage the innocent, it is wrong for the courts. The truth is this: each of us chooses whether or not to obey. The ultimate authority over our actions lies within, and that makes the state's supposed authority nothing more than illusion. A framework of time, from myth to freedom. When I look back on history, I do not see a gradual arc toward liberty. I see a long and steady darkness, a world gripped by full belief in the myth. I divide our political condition into three distinct phases. 1. The age of full statism. This comprises nearly all of recorded history. In this phase, belief in authority was near total. People rarely questioned the legitimacy of kings, priests, bureaucrats, or armies. Rule was accepted as divine, or at least inevitable. 2. The transition, our present age. Today, we live in a time when cracks are beginning to show. Doubts are emerging. The myth is weakening. Not everywhere, not all at once, but enough to notice. More people question laws. More see the absurdity of rule. We are no longer in the full grip of the myth. We are in transition. 3. The age of liberty, yet to come. If the myth dissolves completely, the state loses its foundation. Without belief, it cannot function. In that future, if we reach it, there will still be organization, still be order, still be justice. But it will not rest on coerced obedience to rulers. It will rest on voluntary cooperation. Of clerks and bullies. The state is not one thing. It is not a single mind with a singular purpose. It is a collection of people, some dangerous, most mundane. Clerks are the vast majority. They file papers, maintain systems, push keys, and mop floors. They are functionaries, not rulers. They have no coercive power of their own. They are, like the rest of us, caught in the system. In the United States, their number exceeds 20 million. Bullies are the minority who hold true power. These are the enforcers, police and military, who carry out threats with weapons. And the suits, politicians, prosecutors, high bureaucrats who give the orders. Together, they number fewer than 3 million. These bullies are not monsters. They are men and women calculating rewards and risks. They respond to incentives, and they only thrive where the environment is welcoming to their role. IV, the environment, where belief becomes power. The real strength of statism lies not in force, but in the environment that justifies force. That environment is built from belief. Where the myth is strong, the state flourishes. Where the myth wanes, its grip falters. This environment isn't theoretical, it is lived. In the Soviet Union, when people began to question the state's legitimacy, the system cracked. The armies remained, but the belief was gone. The spell broke. Bullies do not stay where they are no longer revered. Statism persists only where it is invited, and belief is the invitation. Why I'm hopeful. It may seem naive to say so, but I am optimistic, not because I believe in revolutions or heroic awakenings, but because I believe myths decay. The state cannot fight this decay. It cannot adapt because it is not conscious. It is a byproduct. Media, academia, and banking, once pillars, are rotting. Their influence fades daily. Recruitment for police and military is down. Confidence in politicians is evaporating. Acts of defiance grow more visible, more normalized. Most importantly, I don't believe that full conversion is necessary. We don't need everyone to be anarchists. We need enough people to doubt, to hesitate, to roll their eyes instead of saluting. That subtle shift alters the environment. And when the environment changes, the bullies leave. 5. What it means to be red-pilled. To reject the myth is not merely to read a book or change an opinion. It is to undergo a private reckoning. Each of us has two selves. The true self, which already respects consent and abhors coercion in personal life. The indoctrinated self, which excuses violence when it comes from authority. Red pilling is the process of aligning your outer actions with your inner truth. It is seeing that the same morality that governs your friendships and business dealings must also govern your view of law and governance. When someone accepts the myth, they accept a contradiction. That coercion is evil when done by individuals, but noble when done by officials. To awaken someone, I do not argue about taxes or healthcare. I ask moral questions. If the state ordered you to do something evil, would you obey? Who decides what's right, your conscience or their command? If your private life is guided by consent, why excuse force in politics? I don't need them to agree with me politically. I just want the contradiction to gnaw at them. That's where the change begins. 6th, what I do with this understanding. I don't vote. I don't protest. I don't try to reform the state or beg for crumbs. That is playing their game. Instead, I aim at the root. I talk to people about the myth. I focus on belief. This is not passivity. It is strategy. I cannot make the state fall, but I can contribute to the environment that makes its fall inevitable. I keep my head clear with white pills, those truths that remind me why hope is warranted. That myths die, that coercion is unappealing to younger generations, that technology spreads ideas faster than ever, that skepticism grows, even in silence. The state is a colossus with a cracked foundation. It stands only so long as we believe in it, and I no longer do.